Introducing LT Defense Tactical Gear, your ultimate solution for top-notch protection and performance in the field. Our armor bundles provide unmatched safety and comfort, while our battle belts and holsters ensure quick and easy access to your gear. Stay prepared for any situation with our high-quality medical supplies, designed to keep you ready for action at all times. Looking to enhance your skills? Our firearms training programs will take your proficiency to the next level. Trust LT Defense for all your tactical gear needs and gear up for success on the battlefield.
The fact that
cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gab-fed show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
All right. Hello, everyone. This is Red Skelton. We're here with you. And we have my co-host, Eva Fulton, is here. And then, of course, we got Sergeant Big Country that is with us. We'll be introducing you to him just shortly, okay? And look, we want to thank everybody for being here. This is a special broadcast for us because normally we're on Saturday afternoons at 3 o'clock Central. Hey, tonight we're here. It's 6 o'clock here Central, 7 o'clock there, I guess, on the East Coast. And, man, we're happy to be here. It's been a great day. I've been excited about this. I've been telling people we got some big news to share. We got a special guest tonight, and we certainly do. Okay, and I just want, real quick, though, want to make sure Eva introduces herself again and says hello. Eva, how are you doing tonight?
Awesome. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for allowing me to co-host. I'm pretty excited about our adventure together doing this. And so I'm an Army veteran, Desert Storm, and author, filmmaker, working on my PhD, and just still, busy.
Well, I can't wait till we call you Dr. Eva. Dr. Eva, what do you think about? Anyway, hey, looking forward to that. Big Country, we're glad you're here with us. And fellow veteran, from what I understand, I served, just to let you know a little bit about myself, I served 20 years Air Force, and then about 8 years civil service. I was an air traffic controller, and went on to be an instructor with air traffic control there in the final years. And but, man, I'm excited to be here. Military Broadcast Radio came across where there's a thing I read about. What is this Military Broadcast Radio? Start a podcast. I was already kind of clowning around with it with the travel business that I have and just some, other little things, just fun to do stuff. But, boy, when I was able to get with this group of veterans and start getting some mentoring and everything, we really got the show started. We're still fairly new. We're in the first 5-6 months of it. But I tell you what, we love it. And it gives veterans a voice. It's not about the money, okay? It's about helping vets. And in that process of helping vets, we also obviously perhaps might have some type of effect on the general population. But Big Country, I'm glad you're here. Let me play this little song real quick. I'm also going to pull up a picture of you. And you can tell me advance the slide if you want to, and or either we'll just leave it right there, okay? But here we go right now.
Interview of the week sponsored by LTD Tactical.
All right. And we're back. And ladies and gentlemen, the interview of the week, and who you see on the screen there is known as Big Country. How you doing, sir?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. That's a good picture. I didn't take that one not that long ago. It's like a week old. Yeah. So doing great, man. Appreciate y'all having me on. Big shout outs to Joel Hunt, man, one of my mentors. Really appreciate him, and he's done a great job with military broadcast radio and stuff. So y'all are definitely in some good hands.
We are definitely in good hands. I'm glad that you already know him, and so you're familiar with him. I call him, of course, the H Train. He's our station manager, or the director. We got a new manager now that stepped in to kind of take a little bit of that slack off of him. Joel H Train's been here quite a while. I was hoping he was going to pop in with the show tonight. We might hear his voice come in. Even though we can't see his picture, he has those little magical ways of just showing up and being that voice, for us veterans. But yeah, man, like once again, we're glad you're here. What caused you to join the military? Where you from? All that good stuff.
I'm originally from Malden, South Carolina. Grew up down there in the South. Man, the military is just ingrained into my blood. My grandfather raised me up through my elementary school years. He's retired Navy. My other grandfather was Army. After doing a few years of genealogy research and stuff like that about my family, come to find out that we've been in every conflict that America's been in. So, we're pretty much, we've been around here since the birth of America, and we've been fighting for it ever since. So pretty easy for me to say yes to go into the military when it's a family thing, literally.
Right on.
So yeah, just part of the dream.
Yeah, right. Hey, I didn't even know it. I didn't even realize the number of people. I knew a couple of my mom's brothers had been in the military. Same with my dad himself. He had been in the military. Both of his brothers served. He had 3 total of the kids of my grandfather. But little did I know until after I joined the military that my grandfather on my dad's side, him and 7 brothers all served in World War II together.
Wow.
At the same time. Every one of them were active at the same time. And what's amazing, they all made it out of there and returned back to Mississippi. And but what a blessing that was. And then I found out on my other side of the family, it was basically the same way. And then the people before them had served. And then of course, I don't know. I can't go that far back. I don't know. I haven't done it, but I'm going to get into it, before I'm 85 or 90. We'll try to look at all that heritage and see what we got. I'm only 60 now, and when I start slowing down, I'm really going to get in there and look at it. But hey, country, you look like I don't know for sure. I mean, I was in the military. Let me pull this. I ain't gonna take my shirt off. I'm pretty swole up here myself, but I'm pretty swole with all fat and stuff. You know what I mean, brother? I don't know, man. Have you always worked out? It looks like you've been working out your whole life.
No, I've always been an athlete. I was put into sports very, very young. Football, basketball, baseball, of course. The normal 3 that, we grew up playing in the 80s and the 90s. Was always pretty big into fitness, especially in the military. I mean, it's part of your job. It's part of your lifestyle. So, might as well do it and have fun doing it. When I got hurt and lost my legs, I was in the hospital for a year. I didn't look nothing like this. I was 415 pounds, didn't have any definition in my arms, around my neck, my traps or anything. I was really, really weak. Come on. I was in a dark place because I was told I'd never walk again and whatnot. And finally one day just kind of looked at ourselves, got a shadow box right here above my fireplace and was looking at it and was like, you know what, this is my fault for getting this down, this low, this out of shape. I should be more positive that I'm still alive, and I got things to look forward to. So finally got up, and done something about it. Slowly got back up on our feet and got into the gym, 1 or 2 days a week. And then about the end of February 2021, I was walking around good enough to where I was hitting the gym twice a day, trying to lose weight. Had my first competition that year, National Veteran Wheelchair Games up in New York City. Met Joel Hunt. Joel's actually was a very, very big help. At the start of my career, pointed me in the right direction to get my Paralympic license. Told me the do's and the don'ts that I needed to work on and stuff like that. He's been a birdie in my ear and been very, very helpful. I appreciate everything that he's done, not only for me, but for other veterans out there. But he was one of the main guys that really got me into the push into adaptive sports. And it's been a hell of a ride since then. Just completed our 3rd year of full competition. Got 21 medals in here sitting on my yard or on my wall. Just received my first magazine cover from Blue Lupus Media. I was out in San Diego here recently for the Service and Sacrifice Gala. I got the Resiliency Award. 12 other amazing veterans, including Rob Garcia, the best PR man out there. If you're not working with Rob, then you're definitely in the wrong direction. But just so many amazing veterans out there that do certain things, transformation coaches, authors, company CEOs like Vetcom with Kate Monroe, couple of PhD doctors up there that are just doing so many things in the community to help other people. We were honored to be recognized that night. So it's been an amazing ride so far.
Was there part of that mindset change that you had? Was that a switch from the military of doing things because you were told to do it, and now you're doing it for you?
No, it's more or less that I backed away from that military life. I went back to feeling sorry for myself and being lazy and not doing anything. It was more of a wake-up call of like, hey, wait a minute, that guy right there just did all this past 10 years. What's stopping you from carrying on with your life now? Military service, we all have to I always try to say this word, and I can't ever get it to come out. Compartmentalize things sometimes.
Oh, for sure.
When we're in, we can't necessarily worry about our immediate family during certain times at our job. Kind of might depend on your life not to think about things. So it was just a fact of knowing that I could do better, and I pissed my own self off because, like I said, it was my fault for getting that damn low, getting that overweight, getting that weak, and feeling sorry for myself because wasn't nobody gonna pull me out of it but me. Can't nobody make somebody do something to improve their life, but either physically or mentally. You have to want that for yourself to put the work in, because you have to put the work in. If you don't put the work in, you're not going to get where you want to go.
So did you set little goals for yourself? I mean, maybe that's just a female way of looking at it. I don't know how the guys do it, but did you I think a lot of people may relate to the dangling carrot, right? So how did you reward yourself to get from, I can make it. So I'm a hiker, right? If I hike to this tree and I can get to that mile, I can get to that mile. Did you build in something that kind of kept you moving forward and raising the bar so that, you are working towards something, but then you also figure out, how do I reward myself? And because you don't want to just work. I call it my living list and go out. I love traveling. So, I'm not trying to kick a bucket to die. And you certainly, I'm not hearing that you're not trying to kick a bucket to die either. It's not a bucket list. I call it a living list. right? So is there something that you've done in this whole recovery process to be able to change the way you think about it to help others that can, relate to that too?
Yeah, that's one of the great things about this whole thing is the community within itself. I've helped a couple of people be able to make the Charlotte Rolling Hornets basketball team. That's really felt amazing. I've worked with other people with disabilities in and out of the gym. There's one kid that I used to work with in Planet Fitness at Belmont. I forget the name of the disease, but he doesn't really have too much control over his jerkiness and stuff like that. But anybody that came in, in a wheelchair or something like that, I'm the first one over there to introduce myself and offer to help because I know how important it is. And to your question, I made so many drastic changes February 21 altogether. Like I completely changed the way that I ate, the way that I was resting, how I was working out. I actually had a scheduled planned training days to where I had this on this day and this on this day and that on that day. my rewards was my cheat meal at this point in time.
Oh.
So it's like, you're eating clean so much during the week, which, I mean, even me eating clean, my food still tastes good. My food don't ever taste bland. But being able to sit down and eat that pizza and then that cheesecake and some ice cream and then maybe some cereal here and whatnot, try to get everything that you can in that one meal. It's really, it's for me, it's the transformational changes. This my goals. Getting my wife don't want me getting too big, but
she loves to love you, but not too much loving of you, right?
Yeah, I have to agree with her. I'm not like I got some vein work going on, but I don't want to be like completely veined out and like hardly no body fat percentage. I'm not a bodybuilder. I throw an 8-pound ball, so I still get to eat and keep some of the love handles and whatnot. But it's the changes for me, over the last couple of years. My arms filling out, everything getting more defined. How big my traps are getting, my chest, how strong I'm getting. It just continues to grow. And it's that a lot of people think that fitness has a lot to do with motivation. Let me tell you something. You can take the word motivation and fitness and throw it out the door. It's discipline is what it is. You're not going to outwork a bad diet. You can sit there and you can go do 30 minutes of cardio in the morning. You can turn around and go do an hour and a half in the gym. But if you're sitting there eating Wendy's and McDonald's and freaking Subway all day, every day, nonstop, you're not going to get anywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's a process. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle that I love living. I like how my mind has gotten better over time, how my body's gotten better, how much more I can move around, how much more stuff I can do with my family. I mean, it led me to the most wonderful woman in my entire universe. She January 2nd of 2022, she sent me a text message, and I still remember what it says. It's like, "Hey, handsome, just want to let you know that you're absolutely amazing, and don't let anybody else tell you otherwise."
Oh.
Well, all right, handsome. Hey, handsome. Hey, handsome. That's pretty nice. She sounds like a wonderful woman. And Eva, look, we're gonna take a break real quick, okay? And hear a word from our sponsors, obviously, and have a little song played by a veteran. And it's one of my favorites right here. I hope everybody enjoys it. Don't go away, because we're going to hear a little bit more about Big Country. And then, Eva, we're going to find out, from what I understand, something that happened with the commercial airlines right here in the United States to one of our fellow veterans that might just be kind of questionable. But anyway, we're going to be right back here in about 2 or 3 minutes. Y'all hang in there with us. Share it with your friends. Tell them to come on there and jump on the gravy train. Let's go.
and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's the line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Hey. From the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana, to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop, and his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's the line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on the front line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, pay the ultimate price. Oh. He was the man of the house when he was born. His family is proud but torn. But if you knew him, you would understand. He was raised on how to be brave, just to see the flag still wave. And then he came home with only one hand. 'Cause Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, hear the line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on these front lines. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, he'll pay the ultimate price. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down his line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. March in line, march in line. Hey. Hey.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
And we welcome everybody back. And once again, look, I'm going to try. I think I finally found out how I can get some pictures of Big Country back up here on the screen as we talk a little bit and share how this young man is, how he's making it, what he's been through. And Eva, go ahead and take it from where we left off and take it where we want to go, where we want it to go. That'll be
Yeah. Fun. So Brian, tell us about. I know you went to this gala, and from my understanding, Rob paid for your plane ticket, and he had purchased it where you had extra leg room, so everything was supposed to be prearranged for you, right?
Yeah. So Rob, the amazing man he is, took care of the flight and the room down there. I think Brett and them helped out a little bit too. So I went to go check in with American Airlines that Tuesday morning. Got into line right about 6 o'clock in the morning. Get called up. Take my suitcase and put it on the weight scale and take my ID out and hand it to the gentleman in front of me. And had my flight brung up on my phone to show him the little flight code and whatnot. Well, he starts typing away, and another gentleman had got out of line that doesn't speak English, and apparently my guy was bilingual. And as he's listening to this other gentleman, he's putting in my information all wrong. Put me on the wrong flight at the wrong time, put me in the wrong seat where I didn't have my leg room. And, us veterans, we sit here, we're paying attention to everything that's going on around us, and I look up at the guy and I was like, hey, sir, I was like, that's all the wrong information. I was like, if you don't mind, can you please pay attention to me? I was like, you called me up here. This man done jumped out of line, and apparently he doesn't know where he's at. I was like, if you'll finish me up, then get to him so all my stuff gets in the right place. Well, apparently that offended him and ticked him off because he got called out on his mistakes in front of everybody. I wasn't rude about it. I was just making a notice, hey, man, you're fixing to send me to the wrong place. So he looked at me and he's like, well, first, second, third, what does it matter? You can go fly with another airline. So I was just like, oh, wow, really? So now you're going to threaten me to go to another airline because I simply asked you to pay attention to what was going on. So after, a couple of minutes of listening to him be smart, I'm sitting there with my mouth shut, kind of like you were explaining earlier. How do you know when to control yourself over certain moments? That was definitely a moment that I wanted to stand up and lose my ever-living mind, but that was not going to get us where we wanted to go.
Right.
So I sat there, I kept my mouth shut while he sat there and kept being a smart butt the entire time that I'm there, giving me, those smiles like, yeah, say something and I'm going to bump your butt from the flight. So finally got everything straight. Made it down to where we check in to get on the plane. I had to get my wheelchair tagged there. They normally tag your wheelchair as soon as you check in because it's supposed to be with your bags and everything else. So I was kind of explaining to the lady what's going on. She was supposed to have reported to management. After I got on the plane and whatnot, there was a first class seat that hadn't been took yet. And I asked the stewardess, I was like, hey, man, I was like a little cramped. This isn't quite turning out how we planned it. I was like, if nobody sits there, you mind if I sit there? And it's like, oh, no, that's not going to happen. We don't allow that. I'm like, wow, okay. So by the time the plane boarded, a gentleman that was sitting in the row across from me in first class actually got up from his seat. He had been behind me the entire time, the whole way through the airport, seen everything that was going on, and actually offered me his seat and sat where I was sitting. So I was able to.
Very nice of him.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was. They're actually from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, so they're about 2 or 3 hours up from him. We got a pretty big event happening in March that I invited him and his wife down, put dinner on me for giving up his seat and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty nice of him, but very rude of the airlines.
So I, did some research in preparing for the interview. And by the way, I'm working on my doctorate is in public administration. So I take this from a very different angle than probably what a lot of other people would. My role in public administration is to try to help make sure that policies and procedures that are out there are available for people to make sense so that you, in this part, this is coming from the Department of Transportation, that you as a flyer who has, disabilities and very obvious disabilities that, and you probably have already done some of the research yourself because you have to know what the rules are about the wheelchair so that you can anticipate what am I expecting when I go to the airport, when I fly. Rob apparently already knew about buying the extra seat room, so there wasn't any conflict there, that you were expecting to be able to fly in a seat that was going to fit you for the leg room that you need because you are double amputee, right?
No, I am a single amputee. My left leg is amputated above the kneecap. The right leg is called a limb salvage. There's 30 screws, 4 plates, and a 10-inch rod in between my kneecap and my ankle. I cannot feel my right foot, so I don't have the ability to use my toes or anything for balance. So my right side is actually like having a BK, a below the knee amputation, because I can feel my kneecap and all that stuff. But once you get about halfway down the shin, it's like Mr. Deeds. You can take a damn fire poker and stab me in the foot, and I wouldn't be able to tell that you did anything.
Mr. Deeds.
So flying in a normal seat is really a no-go at this station, right?
No, that's for, actually, I'm surprised they made Rob pay for that seat, but the way he told me that he went and booked it, I understand. Me being as tall and as big as I am by ADA and ACAA, they're not supposed to charge me for that extra legroom.
Right.
When on the way back, I flew with Spirit, which they were pretty amazing, through the whole process. They actually let me upgrade to first class for $30.
Wow.
Which you normally don't see. But whenever I went to get on the plane, and the only first class seat that I bought was from Vegas to North Carolina, because that was the longest flight. It was only like an hour and 20 minutes from San Diego into Vegas.
Right.
And I grabbed the stewardess because I had a regular seat. Spirit doesn't have the rows behind first class to have extra leg room. It's either first class or not.
Yeah.
Right.
So when I went to sit down in the seat, the lady actually watched the seat in front of me go forward 6 inches. Like, my prosthetic leg is in the back of this seat. There is no moving for you. There's no laying back for you. And hopefully we don't have a lot of turbulence that causes you to lay back in your seat, because then it causes my prosthetic to be jammed into my hip.
Right. Which would be very uncomfortable and cause you a whole bunch of other different problems.
Yes. And the stewardess actually on Spirit Airlines was, gave me a little bit more insight. A man of my stature, they have to follow ADA and ACCA rules for all people with disabilities. You have to give the people the accommodations that's going to best make them comfortable. You can't just like, okay, well, here, sit here. You'll be fine. It's on the edge of on the aisle. You should have room. You have to go by what that person needs. So technically, when I fly, I was told I should never ever sit in coach seats anyway, because if something did happen to the plane, I'm more likely going to get hurt before somebody else does because of my oversize in a small area.
Right. That's complete sense. I think we're probably about the time for another commercial, right?
Yeah.
So, huh?
Yes.
Okay. So when we come back, Brian, let's go ahead and start, spend a couple of minutes on the Bill of Rights and kind of do some check boxes on that. And then we'll, you can share, we'll get into sharing how some of the other projects that you're working on, and, the exciting stuff that you're planning for 2025 and all that kind of good stuff. All right.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll be right back, folks.
Another regular day, nobody knows. It's that time, he's coming home to them from a foreign land. He pulls up, his mama cries, looks at daddy with tears in his eyes and says, nothing feels better than this. Couple of months go by and no one sees. Something just ain't right, all he wants is peace. He needs help, but he don't know the path to take or the way to go to be free and put his mind at ease. We will help cause we can't stand to see a soldier go to God by their own hands. We will do everything we can to make 22-0 again. He gets help, but he still feels off. Sees an ad on the TV about a dog batting said, "This is a man's best friend." Whoa, so he goes one day and he picks it up. Never thought a dog could bring so much love and put a smile on his face. But he's finally found a saving grace. He needs help, but he don't know the path to take or the way to go to be free. Put his mind at ease. We will help cause we can't stand to see a soldier go to God by their own hands. We will do everything we can to make 22-0 again. Whoa, whoa. He needs help, but he don't know the path to take or the way to go to be free. Put his mind at ease. We will help cause we can't stand to see a soldier go to God by their own hands. We will do everything we can to make 22-0 again.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
I was still reading the screen there in front of me, that little writing after the song. You know, it's such a real deal, and we need to keep all of our fellow veterans, and I can't ever leave the general population out because we're all affected by this stuff. We hear so much about the veterans because that's our family. We're part of them. And we have, man, so many different people that we've, stomped ground with, worked in different facilities on different bases. And, that just, it's terrible. Mental health is such a rough thing. And just it has another way of, like these Bill of Rights for veterans, man. There's it's out. These things are out there for a reason, for their safety and well-being. But man, it hurts. It hurts too. And I know we're going to go into a little bit more of that, Eva, and Big Country. I just want to throw in another little word. Hey, it's military broadcast radio here, right? Giving veterans a voice where it's not about the money. Making money is about helping vets. And that's what we try to do. And we welcome everybody in our crowd, obviously. And also, a little word, despite us talking about the transportation industry right here with this particular airline and a couple different airlines we spoke of, and I've had obviously had done business with both of them, and it happens. Those things happen. I want to throw in though, I just saw this 30 minutes ago, but we got Fairway Travel. It's a sponsor here for this channel on Military Broadcast Radio. This particular studio, and I just want to throw in a word for them that they can be reached at 228-365-3480 or just hashtag just go travel. Check them out on Facebook, and it's Fairway Travel, spelled with a PHAREWAY travel, and give them a shout. Sandals, they're special right now, but Sandals is throwing out 10-15% discount for all military and veterans and first responders, which is a pretty awesome deal. You don't see that a whole lot, or don't see it advertised a whole lot, but that's going on from now until November 16th. Obviously, you can contact me too, because I'm part of Fairway Travel, and we appreciate it. Eva,
you need to put those links in there in the chat then.
I'll definitely put that in there. Normally, I had a banner that runs across. I didn't have it right now, and had a little commercial that I just could not find it in our videos. But that's fine. That's fine. We're here. It's all about the veterans. We want to know more about Big Country. And Eva, did I need to pull the disability rights back up?
It probably wouldn't hurt, but
okay, I'm going to pull those back up. I know that you also mentioned we're going to talk about like with attitudes and things. I know you're going to get into that at some point too, but how things affect us, how we act when things happen, and situations that might be where you really be. It could. Hey, I mean, have your blood boiling. There's no doubt about it, but you maintain your posture. Us with the military, we've been taught to keep our military bearing over the years. So I hope we hear some more about that also.
Yeah, and I think it's such a big, a big aspect too, that we have to not let things trigger us if we know that we're going to, face some potential conflicts in situations. If you had a wish list, from what I understand, you did not feel like you were treated with dignity and respect, right?
No, absolutely not.
How could they have done something? Should they have done better? Do you think that would have made you feel like you were treated with dignity and respect, even if there was this issue with the chair, right, with the seat? Is there a lesson learned? Like, I'm saying not just for you, but I'm trying to put things in the context of, let's say it's another veteran, somebody else that's disabled. Maybe they are a caregiver that is trying to help travel with somebody who's disabled. How can we help ensure that we don't end up being part of the problem, but we get the dignity and respect that we ought to be getting?
Well, I mean, you got the ADA rules and stuff like that. Anybody that has a disability that, wants to make sure that they understand the type of care that they're supposed to receive whenever they go to one of these places. I mean, of course, like you got the Bill of Rights pulled up. It's got some, airport information on there too. You can go to the ADA website. I think it's the ACAA. Trying to remember the correct one that Rob was putting out there too. There's different sites that you can go to and read about this information. They have to accommodate your disabilities. You can't just go sit in a seat. Hell, you might not even be able to walk down the aisles. What they got the aisle chairs for and stuff like that.
Right.
People just need. One thing that I think everybody has an issue with is everybody's in such a damn rush nowadays. Everybody's, I got to get this done. I got to get that done. I got to get this done. I got to get that done. And they don't stop and take a second. If the counterman had just been like, my apologies, sir. Let me get that fixed up for you real quick. All right, here's the plane. Here's the time. Is this your correct seat? Whatnot. Tag my wheelchair and whatnot. Just him being able to acknowledge, what, I screwed up. I apologize. It happens, and not made an ass of himself. We be talking a different story. But
Right.
it's the simple fact that, they feel like they're able to have that upper hand on us because, well, I can sit here and call security, or I can have you removed off this flight because you're being rude to me. It's like they got some kind of power trip, and for some odd reason, let me make this very, very clear to a lot of people. Just because a person has disabilities does not make them somebody that you think that you can just bully because they're missing a limb, or they may have some kind of mental situation going on with like PTSD, anxiety, depression, separation anxiety, manic depressant, bipolar. I can go on all day long.
Right.
You don't. Sometimes those are the people you really don't want to piss off.
They should be mitigating the problem, not exacerbating the problem, right?
Absolutely.
I witnessed an event at a very large airport earlier this summer, and I was very disappointed in the way the airport was treating this guy. Gosh, it was before 6 o'clock in the morning. It was like a red eye, right? It was very early, but this guy was really mistreated. Another federal employee asked me to watch his computer and stuff, and he went and got the wheelchair because the guy had gotten out of the chair and started walking away and using his cane. He shouldn't have been taking 2 steps. And the federal employee guy went and got the wheelchair, and he got the guy coaxed down, sat him in the chair, and wheeled him down to customer service. And it was a shame that the 2 guys that were driving the carts were not willing to help this guy. And we do have a question in the chat. Would you say that this is a frequent issue with the airline industry?
Well, it looks like it is because American Airlines was just fined $50 million for not get my words. They were just fined $50 million for going against the ADA standards when it comes to people with disabilities. So they were just fined all this money for their coworkers and workers already being rude. So this has been an ongoing thing for quite some time.
So
now we know it's.
But if I'm looking at this and hearing what you're saying, and we have the Bill of Rights here, the dignity and respect hasn't happened. You already knew what the information about the services and capabilities and limitations, because otherwise y'all wouldn't have purchased the seat and making sure, even though you went above and beyond what should have happened already, there was the right to receive information in an accessible form. That's not an issue because that's typically because somebody has like sight impairment or hearing impairment or something. Right to accessible airport facilities. Sounds like there might have been maybe some issues there. Did you have any issues with accessibility at the airport itself?
No, I mean, the airports are normally pretty big. They're pretty accessible. I have a little smart drive that I hook up to my wheelchair anyway. So getting through the airports is normally not a problem for me.
Right.
Well, Red and I both have had issues before. Even getting a cane through, it can be difficult. So just be careful on that. The right to assistance at the airport, did they give you assistance?
I mean, yeah, once I got down to where my gate was, like I said, I'm pretty easy when it comes to stuff on that level. By the time I'm checking into the front, all I got is my wheelchair in my book bag, so I don't really need people to walk me anywhere.
That's good.
Now, whenever I go to get on the plane, I do need somebody to come and get my wheelchair and stick it up underneath the plane so it makes it to my destination.
But I think I've seen videos where wheelchairs have been thrown. I mean, those YouTube videos are out there.
I've seen that also, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just one thing that everybody kind of has to kind of deal with. You know, you don't know if you're going to end up with somebody that's just going to chunk your bag underneath the plane, or if they're actually just going to set it in there.
And that's always the truth. Behind the wall, you never know what they're doing with your things. You know, I mean, because luggage gets destroyed all the time. All these different deals. Me being in the travel business, obviously, I always recommend getting insurance. You know, because you never know when something like that's going to happen. I do know, like we were talking about, most all the airports are very accommodating to the disabled. I believe you have the certain individuals, just like even despite that suit with American Airlines, that perhaps, and I think we've touched on training and all, but hey, your policies are only as strong as your weakest link, just like our Army is only strong as our weakest soldier, you know, and those things, when you think about like that, everybody has to be trained, you know, with the military, with so many different jobs. Wow, you know, there's so much training you do. Even at a McDonald's, you go through all this. I mean, you know, everyone has computer-based training now, and it's not something that's surprising. You ask how, you know, with most of these travel industry businesses, they know how to help the disabled. And I don't care if it's the American disabled or if it's a European person that's disabled. These resorts, all around there, so many are so accommodating. Now, a lot of them aren't, you know. A lot of them have big hills, stairs. You can't get anywhere. Heck, I can't even get anywhere, man, unless you. Now, Eva, big country, you're in good shape. Eva, you're a hiker. You might be able to get around all of them, and that's great, okay?
I'm
but
a hiker
now.
Can't. In 2021, I was using a rollator. So
okay,
I broke my back twice in 2020.
So you know all about it also.
Oh, yeah.
So you're no stranger to this yourself. But I do want to say, even could go down the road of autism as a disability of parents and families with youngsters that have autism, or even adults with autism, you know, or some other type of issue. Look, they try to take care of them, but it's only as strong as that weakest person. You know, one person can mess it up for the whole trip, right? It's just a fact.
And us using our voices, and that's why I think, you know, I was so drawn to your story, Big Country, was that, you know, for somebody who doesn't know that I have a right to receive seating accommodations, you know, that's huge, because if we're trying to help people not be part of the 22 and getting out and living life is something that we ought to encourage each other to do. That I knew that I needed to interview you. So how can we help other people? You know, do you have any recommendations on how do we help them understand, yes, you may have a disability, get out there and live and be informed and go.
How do we get to these resolutions, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, everybody is different. You know, I would say the main thing first and foremost is be nice and respectful to the person. You know what I mean? Everybody's disabilities are different, even though they may look the same. Not everybody reacts the same towards their disabilities. You know, it may be a real, you know, mind kicker in the butt for some people. You know, right. It just be nice and respectful at first. You know, whenever you're talking to somebody, you know, if they come up to you and ask for help, if you're in a gym or something like that, lend them that hand. I mean, even an able-bodied person is looking for help in a gym.
Right.
Right.
You know, and you know, when you're out and about and stuff like that, I've met a lot of people here recently who are just like, they're scared to open up the doors and stuff because they don't want to offend anybody. Well, you know what? If you're in a wheelchair or a walker or crutches and something like that, and somebody opens up the door, you need to be nice to that person too.
That's
you know, you should be telling those people, thank you, thank you for your help and stuff like that.
Right on.
I get some people with disabilities don't want help at a certain point in their transition, and that's okay. But not everybody on the outside knows that. So the respect
don't
goes
necessarily
both.
push them away.
Right. Because they may be that type of person that sees somebody who really needs some help, but because you were the butthead out of the group and was like, oh, I don't want your help, they may just throw up their hands and not do it anymore. And there goes somebody else that they could have, actually gave some help to. Resources and stuff like that. There's so many resources out there that they offer us veterans, and people with disabilities, put them in touch with me. We can put them in touch with different people that deals with adaptive sports, through the VA. Adaptive sports is becoming a bigger and bigger community every year. We just had the Paralympics in Paris. We had over 4,400 athletes. People may not know, but we've had the Paralympics since the 1960s. It's just now starting to grow and become popular. Me and Anthony Pone and both my Beth and Beth sisters that I throw with out in Arizona, and some of the other athletes that I compete with every year. We push the importance of parasports and adaptive sports out there. We got some amazing coaches out there. Adrienne Wilson's one of them. She was my very first coach. 6-time world women's champion in the Highlander Games. Spencer Tyler, he's another great coach out there. I got a whole list. Jasmine out at San Diego State University. There's just, the community is awesome. And it is definitely one of those that can give you that purpose back. But I'm here to tell you now, it's hard work.
I bet.
But here's the key. If you love your job, then it's not work, right?
Yeah. I have a friend of mine that participated in the senior Olympics with the VA this summer after we came back from hiking in Spain. But I found out I qualify for the senior Olympics now too.
Hey, look,
that's one I'll have to check into. I haven't heard of that one yet.
It's from the VA. We have another question. You're going to get
one more question from Josh Bailey. He says, this addressed to you, Big Country. Outside the customer service experience, are there any changes you think the airlines could make? Do you think the airline industry, travel industry, can make to better accommodate disabled veterans and disabled passengers? I know that we talked about training. I mean, you got to train them to do this. What's your thought on there, Country?
I mean,
is this something
honestly,
I'm thinking, is this something maybe we can get veteran service organizations involved with, and maybe we need some congressional hearings about, some of, I'm just thinking there might be some room for growth there.
Well, I mean, I think me and Rob was trying to come up with a job like some kind of compliance officer or something like that, that whenever you're a person with disabilities and you check in, that there's supposed to be one person with you from check-in till you get down to the gate and on the plane, if you so want to have such a person that does that. So that way, if you're stopping to get something to eat, or if you're getting a souvenir, or if you have to use the bathroom, then you got somebody that's there with you to help you along the way, especially if you're not traveling with family and whatnot. Of course, there's training that comes into that too. But I mean, all in all, man, I've not really had that many bad experiences with the airlines. They do need to stop charging for certain things. Like Rob should have never had to have paid for that extra leg room, because technically I cannot sit in a coach seat. So you have to give me that seat at no charge. But the way he booked it, I think, is the reason why he didn't get that. But, it's just, people with disabilities need to be informed, though, too. Don't just go in there and be like, I'm somebody with disabilities and I have rights. Well, you better know what those rights are before you go in there and you start screaming stuff like
You
that.
can't demand
Right.
something that you don't have a right to. So just being informed, being wise about that is something each person with disability, maybe the VA could even share that more with folks that are disabled, especially if they've written the whole, I mean, they got the percentages, they know what their problems are, make sure that individual is informed, or any of the
You
services,
catch
any
more with honey
hospitals.
than vinegar.
Right. Hey, look, y'all, it's been 1 hour. We're right at the hour mark. I mean, this is a great show. Big Country, I really want you to consider coming back, okay? And we'd
Absolutely.
love to have you on the show again.
Yeah, because we need the update when American
Yes,
Airlines,
absolutely.
does something, because I think that that's going to really help. I did share your website over in the chat. Is there anything
Thank you.
else that you'd like to share? I think you have a big 2025 schedule ahead of you, right?
Yeah, 2025 is coming up. First, I want to say thanks to Robert Garcia, for my manager, my PR guy. Thank you for everything you do. Please, if your business needs any kind of insight or whatnot, go hire that man. He'll get your business seen more than you possibly realize. 5% Nutrition, Tough Wraps, Swiss Kims, all my coaches, my family, my amazing wife who's been sitting over here listening to me jot my head off.
And I'm sure you could probably have a sponsor, right? Sponsors couldn't hurt either.
Yes, with the 2025 season, we're already set for 4 competitions already. We got sponsored packages that are ready to be released on the 1st of January. Does include some PR stuff, some advertisement stuff and whatnot. You go to my website, go check out the merch line. We got all kinds of gym wear and stuff like that. If you get merch from my site, not only are you helping me, but you're actually helping a veteran-owned business that actually makes the merch as well. So you're helping veterans in both ways. We really appreciate that. And if you do get something, take a picture and tag me. I like to see people that's out there wearing the gear and supporting all the little.
I'm already fanning you, Brian, because I ordered a sweatshirt. So hopefully it's waiting for me in Texas next week. So.
All right.
Them sweatshirts are really good. They're nice and thick. They keep us warm around here.
Good.
Hey,
let's
wind it down. Yeah, right on, Eva. We really thank you. And hook up with us anytime you want to get back on here. You can contact myself. You contact Eva. Of course, the station director, H. So woo-hoo, choo-choo is all I want. Choo-choo, H train. Let us know if you want to get back on. We'll be watching
Absolutely.
you. And we'll be watching you and trying to get you back on with the two of us. We would definitely love to have you. Look, we got to close the show out right now. And with Military Broadcast Radio, the Freedom from Struggle show, which is the actual show we're part of right now, it's normally played on Saturday afternoons at 3 o'clock Central Time. And we'd love to have people join us. But the real quick thing, we're about the 12 steps of recovery and just being able to help folks, help our veterans. And I just wanted to read this first one tonight, just the only one I'll take care of right now. If you're interested in that comment, we'll get you more. Would love to reach out and talk to us, or I'll reach back to you. But in Celebrate Recovery, which I teach at or lead at First Baptist Church in Biloxi, Mississippi, it started out in California in the 90s. But the first step is admitting we're powerless over our addictions or compulsive behaviors, any type of hurt, habit, or hang up, that our lives had become unmanageable. And there's a Bible verse, a scripture that goes with that I know that nothing good lives in me. That is in my sinful nature. For I have the desire to do what is good, but I cannot carry it out. I just want everybody, just to know that that's what the Freedom from Struggle show is about on a normal weekly basis. And it's about helping each other, sharing with each other, caring, having that shoulder to lean on, that ear to hear, or just whatever, just making sure we connect you with somebody else. We appreciate y'all all being here. Eva, is that it? You got anything else you want to share real quick?
I got my podcast up there, Mighty People Garden Podcast.
People Garden Podcast.
Garden, Brian. So
We're getting everything covered, and we'll probably add some other stuff in the comments. Remember, whenever you see our show, give us a little wave and a comment, and we'd love to see you. Y'all have a good day, and we're going to close out the show right now with one more word from our sponsors.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.